Hello, my name is Farshad Muhajiri. I am software developer at FMsoft, a company based in Ankara, Turkey. First of all, thanks to Embarcadero for hosting this webinar. I really appreciate it. In this webinar, I'm going to present you the UniGUI Web Application Framework. My email address is on the screen, and you can also see the UniGUI website address, which is unigui.com. In this webinar, I will try to go through several topics. Here is the list of topics that we're going to discuss today. I will try to keep the presentation part shorter and dedicate more time to demonstrating real examples in Delphi. So, first of all, we will have an introduction to UniGUI Web Application Framework. After that, we will try to take a look at technology overview and various features of the framework. We can take a look at deployment options. We will try to run a few simple applications, and also we will try to create a basic database application with Delphi and UniGUI, of course. And finally, we will discuss our roadmap and future plans. As always, we will have a part dedicated to questions and answers. Now, the first question you may ask here is, what is UniGUI? Basically, UniGUI is a web application framework for Delphi and C++ Builder. It allows you to develop native Delphi applications which will display the user interface in a web browser. As you know, Delphi is a tool which was primarily created to develop desktop applications only. However, by using tools such as UniGUI, now you can extend your Delphi applications to a new dimension, which is the web. As you know, web applications can be accessed from any remote location where you have a network connection or maybe an internet connection. And on your client computer, all you need is a standard web browser to start a web session. As a result, your application can be used by multiple users from various remote locations. This means that you don't need to deal with complicated deployment tasks, which are needed for classical client-server applications. All you need is to set up your web browser and open it to the World Wide Web. Okay, now it is time to ask, what is a web application, or more specifically, a UniGUI web application? Here in this diagram, we have a server in the middle. We have also a client. In our server, a Delphi application is running. It runs your business logic, and it will also generate your presentation layer, which is sent to your client using standard HTTP protocol. On your client, you have a web browser, which will display your application's user interface using standard technologies such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And here we are using a very advanced library named Sencha.xjs. In one of the next sections, we are going to cover this library in more details. And here you can see a list of available components in UniGUI framework. As you can see, we have a complete set of visual controls. Here in the middle, we have our standard controls, which are very similar to VCL set of standard components, and here we have some additional components, and also here there is a complete set for data-aware controls. Here these components are actually optimized for desktop, and also here we have a different set of components which are optimized and specifically designed for touch-enabled devices such as tablets and cell phones and similar other devices. So if you are designing an application for the cell phone, you need to use these set of components. And if your application is for a desktop PC, then it's preferred to use the components here on the left-hand side. At this point, we will try to explore the UniGUI RAD approach. UniGUI can be considered as the ultimate RAD tool to create web applications because it simply follows the same approach which is followed to create VCL desktop applications. Let's go through the steps which are required to create a web application using UniGUI. These steps are simply design, compile, debug, and deploy. For Delphi developers, there is nothing new here. These are the same steps that all of us were following for years to create VCL applications. Now, same steps can be extended to create web applications. From design aspect, UniGUI applications are designed using same tools that are used to design any standard VCL application. Here we have forms, frames, and data modules, which means you can design a UniGUI form exactly in the same way you have been designing your VCL applications. And there is no doubt that RAD Studio is the ultimate RAD tool in the market. So likewise, it is also safe to say that UniGUI is the ultimate RAD tool for web application development. Now let's have a look at main features of UniGUI framework. One of the most important features of UniGUI is its integration with Sencha XJS. XJS is one of the industry's most advanced JavaScript frameworks. UniGUI uses XJS for creating web pages. Client-side elements such as buttons, edit boxes, list boxes, and grids are actually XJS components, which are automatically created at runtime based on UniGUI forms. And here we have Sencha's website. Sencha is a company specialized in developing advanced and powerful JavaScript-based user interface components. And UniGUI uses XJS as the client-side library to render user interface. Now let's take a look at some of the examples for the XJS. We can try looking at this example. Look at the components, buttons, basic buttons, and these are elementary components. You have menu buttons. As you can see, there is a rich set of components here which can be used to create advanced and elegant user interfaces for your web application. And also, for instance, XJS has a very powerful grid. Again, those of you who are familiar with UniGUI are already aware of this powerful grid, which has many advanced features. As I told, UniGUI is based on XJS components, and we are able to use all advanced features of this framework right inside UniGUI Web Applications. And here there is an exciting news, and that is acquisition of Sencha by Idura. Around 10 days ago, we become aware that Sencha is now a part of Idura and Embarcadero. As FMsoft, we are already technology partner of Sencha for many years. And UniGUI could already demonstrate how powerful can be a cooperation between Delphi and XJS. So I believe that this cooperation will help UniGUI to improve even further, and we will be able to take lots of benefits from this cooperation between Embarcadero and Sencha. Also, I want to state that each UniGUI license comes with an OEM license of XJS. So there is no need to acquire a separate license for XJS. UniGUI is an all-in-one package which includes all tools you need to create web applications with elegant user interface. As I stated in previous page, UniGUI is completely integrated into Red Studio IDE, and you can start developing, compiling, debugging, and deploying web applications right after installing UniGUI. With UniGUI, you can create a complete web project without working with common web technologies such as HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. All required client-side code is dynamically generated by UniGUI. But there are cases where you may want to directly work with JavaScript and customize your application behavior by writing custom JavaScript event handlers. In this case, UniGUI allows you to write custom JavaScript code and handle events directly on client side. This advanced feature enables you to handle XJS events and perform certain tasks on client side. And regarding deployment, UniGUI allows you to deploy your application using all major deployment options available for Windows and in future for Linux. Most common used deployment methods are Windows Service and eSAPI module, which are used for production servers. There is also standalone mode, which is used for development and debugging purpose only. Now, let's briefly discuss mobile device support in UniGUI. In UniGUI Complete Edition, we have a special set of controls which are optimized for mobile devices such as tablets and mobile phones. As you can see here, these components use a larger form factor compared to standard desktop components. It will enable users to use touch-enabled devices more efficiently with UniGUI Web Applications. So basically, these components will allow you to navigate inside your tablet device or your mobile phone using only your finger. So in order to do that, you need components which are using a larger form factor, as you can see in this slide. Now we can discuss available deployment options for UniGUI. As I mentioned before, UniGUI supports all major deployment options for Microsoft Windows, and in future we will also add support for Linux operating system. And here we have 3 deployment options. First one is Windows Service, and also standalone server application, and finally eSAPI module. For production use, we prefer using Windows Service and eSAPI module. And the standalone server is only good for debugging and development. For ESAP modules, you can use both Microsoft IIS and Apache Web Server. And as I said, standalone server is not preferred for production use, as your server application should be started manually after opening in a user session in Windows. This is not something that you can do in a production environment. So it is required to deploy your application either using the ESAP module or Windows service. At this moment, it's good to try to look at what we have inside a UniGUI web application. In this diagram, we have a cloud in the middle. This cloud can be accessed from internet or intranet based on your configuration. And here we have a database server. Here is our web application server, which is actually has a built-in HTTP server and various UniGUI components, which are a server module. And for each session, there are one main module, and also various numbers of forms and main form and other Delphi components in your application. Here it is what we have on our server side, and this part is our client side, which is actually a web browser running JavaScript code. Here is our forms displayed using XJS components, and here we have communication between server and the client using AJAX requests. As you can see, we have various types of client devices. It can be touch-enabled devices and or the regular PCs, computers, and also laptops and notebooks. So as you can see, UniGUI forms are translated into JavaScript and XJS code, which are sent through HTTP requests to browser, and user can see forms, frames, various elements, grids inside web browser. And also you are able to directly use JavaScript and write event handlers for a UniGUI web application, which means you can customize your client-side user interface simply by writing JavaScript code and using XJS event handlers. It is a very powerful feature which will allow you to use all advanced features which are available in XJS. Probably you have wondered what UniGUI actually means. UniGUI stands for Unified GUI. We call it unified because it unifies the UI experience on all platforms. Each UniGUI session is displayed inside a web browser. So apparently, the UI experience will be the same regardless of the OS platform running the browser. So we can say that UniGUI is an alternative way of developing cross-platform applications, because once you have a web application, you don't care about the client PC and its OS platform. You know that your application will be displayed in one of the popular browsers such as Firefox, Edge, Chrome, Opera, Internet Explorer, and etc. So you can have a portable PC such as a Chromebook or a MacBook, and it can be a desktop PC or maybe some PC with Linux operating system. On all of these platforms and various type of devices, your users will have exactly the same experience and UI will be actually unified for all of them. Okay, until now I tried to explain various aspects of UniGUI using slides, but I think that now it's time to show some real applications, a few simple applications in Delphi itself. So let's go ahead and start working directly with Delphi. I will try to show a few simple applications, and also I will try to create one application, a database application, to show you how you can simply and how fast you can create a web application using UniGUI. And here I have RAD Studio 10.2 IDE. I will try to demonstrate our all features demo application. This application is also available in our UniGUI website. It is used to demonstrate UniGUI components. Actually, this one is for desktop browsers. We have another all features demo for mobile devices, which I will demonstrate later. Okay, here in our project we have various forms and modules. We have a main form, we have a main module, and we have a server module. A server module is created once per application. It is a singleton. Also, it has various properties and parameters which can be used to customize behavior of your server. For example, you can change port number here. You can assign a different value to IX timeout. You can also change session timeout. And also there are lots of other parameters which allows you to customize behavior of your server. Also here we have our main module. A main module is created for each session. So for example, if you have 100 sessions in your application, there will also be 100 instances of main module. Also, main module allows you to configure some parameters related to each session. For example, you can change local parameter of your application. You can change the background picture. Also, it is the best place to place your connections, database connection of your application. And you can also put various other database related components which actually depends on your particular design of your application. And the main form is the first form which will be displayed when your application starts. As you can see, a main form is quite similar to a VCL form. We have here many visual controls, and all of them are actually UniGUI components. For example, this one is a Uni bit button. Here we have a Uni tree view, combo box, a Uni toolbar, a Uni status bar, and also we have another combo box here. We have a timer, a Uni main menu, and also a pop-up menu. We have a component which is like VCL's image list. It is called native image list. And now let's try quickly compile and run this application. Let's choose compile, and after that we are ready to run this application. Yes. Now our application is running. As you can see, we have a new small icon here in the system tray. This icon is actually showing that your application is running. When you double click on this icon, a small window is opened, and this is actually a panel, a control panel for your standalone server application. Now let's try to see our main form in a web browser. Here is our web browser window. In order to access a new session, we need to type localhost address for port 8077. And yes, here we have our main form. Which is displayed using XJS components. And let me discuss a bit about XJS here. All of these components are actually individual XJS controls which are used in UniGUI. Here we have an XJS button. Here we have an XJS tab bar, a combo box, a tree view control, and also here we have a menu bar. All of these are used to construct a UniGUI form. So here we have several nodes and items which is used to demonstrate components of UniGUI. For example, here we have icons, buttons, we have simple buttons. We have, for example, a set of demo for charts. Here is our standard controls for a form. We have a checkbox, we have combo box, we have datetime related controls. We can use formatted edit boxes. Here we have a group box. We also have the HTML editor. Standard memo. A property grid. And also we have an extensive set for debug grid and also a string grid. Here you can test various types of debug grids and all of different configurations. For example, here we have a filtered debug grid. We have grouping here. We have also some advanced controls such as a tree grid, a vertical grid, and also a vertical tree grid. Here we have some database related demo page, for example, fish facts. We have a master detail. Here we have two debug grids with master detail relation. Here we have some additional demos, for example, for Google Maps. We have HTML5 canvas demo. Now let's continue with our next sample application. In this exercise, we will try to create a very basic UniGUI application. It will contain a single form, and we will try to demonstrate basic event handling, and probably you will see that there is no difference between creating a basic UniGUI application and creating a VCL application. Now I will try to quickly create a very basic UniGUI application Here I will choose new other UniGUI for Delphi application result, and here I will choose application type standalone server and project UniGUI new. For instance, you can choose a folder here and name for the project 1, and yes, and here is a blank form and a new project with a main form, a main module, and a server module. Here we have a blank main form. We can start quickly by adding UniGUI components, which all of them start with a uni. For example, we have uni button, we have various UniGUI controls, we have a uni label here. We can add a list box, and for example we have a uni combo box, and we can use and edit. We can try by adding some items to combo box, and for instance we can also add a memo control. Here is an event handler for my uni button. Here we can, for example, say list box 1 items add uni combo box 1 text. Also, for example, we can put here another button and uni memo 1 lines add uni edit 1 text. Compile. There is an error here. Uni combo box. Okay. Yes, I have my application running here, and in my browser here is my project. I can choose an item here, and as expected they are added to my list box. And again here text is added to memo. I can start another session here in another tab, which will be a new session. So basically you can open multiple sessions. Your server is capable of serving sessions from a local host or from a remote location, and you can terminate your session simply by closing your main form. And now let's try to add some additional controls to this application. For instance, we can use a UniDB grid, client datasets, and a T data source. Let's assign local data, and here in my browser, yes, I have my DB grid populated with data from client datasets, and your grid is directly editable. You can edit data and post it back to your data source. So as you can see, it is quite easy to create a web application in UniGUI and Delphi in a few minutes. And basically, you are using the same tools, the same IDE, same principles as you were using to create your regular VCL applications. One of the advanced features of UniGUI is the ability to assign JavaScript client-side event handlers to XJS events. In this sample application, we will try to demonstrate this feature. I will try testing some client-side scripting capabilities in UniGUI. For this, I'll start it with a Uni button, and I will also place an Uni edit, and I have a property named client events with also a sub property named X events. When I open this, you can see that here we have several client-side events which are actually XJS events for the XJS component named x.button. So I have click event. I can type form uni edit 1 set value clicked. As you can see, I can use the syntax on client side. I can directly refer to UniEdit 1 by using first writing its owner name, main form, and then its name. And here you have a JavaScript method, which again is defined in Sencha XJS framework. So let's try running this example. Yes, the value is directly assigned on client side. Again, we can try something else. Again, I need edits, another one, and first of all, let's assign a JavaScript event to, this time I will use keyup. If sender get value length bigger equal to 4, then main form uni edit 3 focus. So as you can estimate, if I type anything equal to or longer than 4 characters in UniEdit 2, UniEdit 3 will become the active editor. I need to erase. Yes. So again, erase it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I am in the next editor. So you can see that using client-side scripting is actually a very advanced feature which can be used to customize your client-side behavior, and you can apply some fine-tuning to your component behavior and how they interact with user actions. And in our next sample application, we will try to quickly show the special components of UniGUI which are designed for mobile devices. And here is our all features demo application for mobile devices. As you can see here, we have a different main form. It is called main M form, and our other forms. Here you can see that components here have larger form factor. Here is a toolbar, for example. Here we have a DB grid, a DB navigator. These components are designed to be larger, and they are optimized for using with finger on a mobile device. So let's quickly try to run this application. This time I need to type a different address. As you can see in a desktop browser, you can also show mobile components, but again, it is preferred to use an actual mobile device, such like a tablet, for displaying this application. And as you can see, like desktop all features demo, here we also have various sections for each set of components, and we have a Google Maps here also. And you can terminate your session simply by pressing at this button. Today, as our last exercise, we will try to create a very basic database UniGUI application. In this application, we will use 5 doc components along with a MySQL database server. We will try to create an interface for a data table, and also we will add a mobile form, a mobile interface for this application. I start by creating a new application. I choose an already existing folder. Yes. Here I have my main form, my main module, and my server module. My first step will be to place a FT manager component on my server module and set its active property. It must be done because FT Manager needs to be activated in a multi-threaded application. before any other thread. And also here I need a MySQL driver, and also a wait cursor, which I will set to console and none. Okay. And here I need to set design time vendor lib for this component. So at design time I will be able to connect to my MySQL server and open tables. And also okay, for runtime I need to set vendor lib and the name of the lib is at runtime. The folder may change because you are not going to deploy to same PC always, so you need to set it according to a relative path, which can be obtained by using this start path property of server model. And now let's go and start designing our application. I will add a data module to my application, and also a query object, a data source, and before that, the most important part is that we need a connection, of course. Here is my FD connection. Now let us set various parameters such as driver name. We do not need the login prompt, and server is a local server 100, user, my user, and also I need to set database name, which is password. Yes, we are connected to our server. So here I need to choose the connection, and I need to write some simple SQL statement. Select all from customers, try active, yes, and now we need some visual data aware components. We can start by a debug grid. Let's choose our data module and select our data source. And now let's try again. Yes, we have our data in our debug grid. Also, I like to activate my query at runtime. Also, I need to remove this default path, and we can test this application. Yes, our debug grid is populated with data from MySQL server. Here we can add another debug grid and also a DB navigator. Can be connected to same data source, and we can also create another query another data source. Same connection, and this time let's check our table. We have customer number. Yes, so it should be customer number. And here we need to try to create some sort of master relation. And our second grid will be connected to our second data source. And now we have some sort of a master detail relationship between these two grids. As I navigate in the top grid, the second grid is refreshed from data that is coming from orders table. And last thing I like to do is to add a mobile interface to this project. I here choose mobile application main form. Here we have a main form which is resembling a mobile device. Again, I will use a debug grid here, but this time I need a UniMDB grid, which is optimized for mobile environment. Also a navigator, and all I need to do is to choose my data module and create and connect my components to the correct data sources. Yes, so we can simply compile and run application which is still running. Okay, try again. Now I will try to access mobile interface of my application. To do this, I will use Google Chrome's mobile device emulator. To activate it, you must press F12 and choose this icon, and here we have a list of various types of devices. Here I will use iPhone 6, and to access my mobile main phone I need to type same address, but this time I will add /m to end of it. And yes, here is our mobile main form, and here is our debug grid. You can navigate it and use also the slider to change a page. You can change the orientation of your device. You can select a bigger device such as iPad, and here you can simply edit any row by double clicking or double tapping on it, and here you have, for example, you can change data, and at the same time you can access your desktop main form. So as you can see, you can mix mobile and desktop main forms in the same application. At this point, I think it is time to talk a bit about our roadmap and what we are planning for the future. First task is to add support for Sencha XJS 6.5. XJS 6.5 is the most recent version of XJS, and it includes many new features and improvements over version 4.2, which is currently used in UniGUI. I believe that many UniGUI developers are already anticipating this version, and we are late at doing this. So this is one of our high priority tasks. And our second important task is to highly improve stability and scalability for UniGUI web servers. To achieve this, we will implement some additional features such as clustering and load balancing. And there are several levels of implementation here. First level is to implement a web garden. In a web garden, web sessions will be served by multiple worker processes, which run the same UniGUI application. This will highly improve stability and scalability of a UniGUI web server. And the next step will be to develop lifetime management for worker processes, which we can call this worker process recycling. And also we will try to implement load balancing, so you will be able to run your UniGUI applications in multiple servers or a web farm. And our last important task is to implement Linux support. Linux servers are known to be more stable, they are widely available, they can use less resources for same task, and Delphi 10.2 is already supporting Linux. So I believe that many of UniGUI developers are already anticipating us to implement Linux target for UniGUI applications, and hopefully this will be another high priority task for us. And let's take a brief look at our available editions. Basically we have 3 editions plus a trial edition. In personal edition we have a few features missing, such as 64-bit compiling, and also we do not have any additional themes, and source code is not available, and also there is no mobile platform support in personal edition. Again, in Professional edition, we do not have mobile support, and Embarcadero is missing also for personal edition. And again, there is an upper limit of 30 maximum concurrent sessions for personal edition. Regarding the source code, we are not deploying full source code for any edition. Currently, we are only deploying partial source code for components only. Again, in trial edition, we have some limitations. You can refer to our website for a full list of limitations in the trial edition. And again, here are the prices. And again, all editions come with 1 year of subscription. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. Thank you for attending. Please follow the links on the screen for more information. Thanks again. Bye.
So there are some questions here about if you had any maybe like case studies with larger companies that are using UniGUI.
Yes, actually there are a few companies that I am aware of. They are using UniGUI in large scale projects for high demand, for example, for projects. I'm aware of one system which has actually 1,000 daily users, concurrent users, and I'm also aware of another project which is an enterprise ERP software which contains thousands of forms and also will be used in heavy load environment. So yes, there are actually a few of them that I'm aware, but there can be more of them.
Yeah, I know from experience working in Embarcadero, sometimes it's hard to find those interesting projects and big projects people are using your tools for. So do you have any benchmark showing what level of concurrent users you can have, or is it going to be really dependent on what those users are doing?
Actually, in our internal tests, we are using some stress tests that enables us to create more than 10,000 sessions with around 500 concurrent requests. Of course, it is done to test the library against stability issues. So in our internal tests, we can go as high as we can, as long as system resources allow it. But in a real scenario, probably it depends on the particular software, because when you increase the number of sessions, you will also need additional system resources. So it highly depends on the particular system configuration and the software.
Yeah. All right. Great. Daniel's saying he has been using your product since 2014. So that's great. I know I've talked to so many people that just love UniGUI. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here. Is
Yes.
it's everybody I talk to that uses it loves it. So
That's great to hear that.
how about, do you support inheritance?
Actually, we support it in the same way that Delphi supports in visual projects. You can take any form, any frame, or any data module and inherit a new form from it, and you can do it as deep as you can. You can inherit in two levels, two levels, or to any number of levels that you like. So it is fully supported.
Excellent. See, Antonio also says has UniGUI Professional, uses it in several web apps. So thanks for the webinar. What is the extension you're using to simulate the mobile screen on Chrome there in your presentation?
Actually, it is a built-in feature which is activated when you open developer tools in Chrome. There is an icon. When you activate it, it will switch to mobile mode and it will start emulating various types of mobile devices. So it is something that comes with Chrome by default. There is no need to install an extension.
All right, fantastic. Great. Well, if there's any other questions or anything you wanted to add real quick?
Here's a question about when UniGUI will support Sencha XJS 6.5 and when will we be able to deploy to Linux? Yes, actually it is difficult to answer because okay, XJS 6.5 is certainly targeted for this year, by end of this year, no late than end of this year, and Linux probably will be the later after that. So probably in first quarter of 2018, we will have Linux support for UniGUI.
All right. Very cool. That's exciting to see. I know a lot of people have been very looking forward to Linux with UniGUI. Okay.
Yes. So is the last question, is there any special offer for who follow the webinar? I don't know.
Don't have
Maybe
one.
we can do something. If Jim, if you can send me the list of participants, I will try to do something.
Okay. We'll work out, see if we can work out something where you can do a special offer. That'd be great.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you so much again for your presentation and for UniGUI, and thanks to everybody for joining us.
And thank you for hosting this webinar.
It was my pleasure.
I appreciate it. Thanks you.
Bye.